Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to talk about the importance of psychology in business in today's digital world. Why is it important? Business psychology bridges the gap between human behavior and organizational efficiency. So, in digital world, it enhances understanding of consumer motives, leadership and dynamics, and internal culture. This field integrates behavioral science with strategic business operations to um, optimize human capital and the decision making. So let's move on to the next slide by discussing introduction to the business psychology. The cognitive biases such as confirmation bias, anchoring, and availability of heuristics significantly affect consumer judgment. Marketers leverage these to nudge purchasing decisions, tailoring content and pricing to align with subconscious decision frameworks. And to better understand this, we have to understand the role of cognitive bias in consumer behavior, what role it plays. Emotional intelligence in leadership is very important. Emotional intelligence, EQ, encompasses self awareness, empathy, and regulation, plays a pivotal role in digital leadership. Leaders high in EQ foster psychological safety, enhance employee engagement, and manage conflict in virtual teams. So we will further talk about this in detail, and we will see, excuse me, the emotional intelligence in leadership. What is the importance of this? Um, like the When we talk about emotional intelligence, as we just spoke, this is very important to discuss that this is very important in even in the leadership as well, because cognitive biases such as confirmation bias, anchoring, and availability, the heuristics significantly affect consumer judgment, as we said before. So leaders high in EQ foster psychological safety, as I mentioned, and it is also important to understand the behavioral economics and the decision making, which is very important because behavioral economics explains deviations from rationality and economic choices. Concepts like loss aversion and prospect theory reveal how individuals react to risk and uncertainty, which businesses exploit through strategic messaging and offer framing. So, to understand this, we have to understand the branding. The branding is also very important. The psychology of branding. What is that in business? The brand psychology utilizes associative learning and identity theory. Consumers form emotional attachments to brands that reflect their self concept, and the digital campaigns use color theory, storytelling, and archetypes to build brand loyalty. Then again, we have to see the consumer psychology, and that is used in the marketing as well. Digital marketing and consumer psychology is another area we should talk. Digital marketing is grounded in psychological principles such as persuasion theory and attention economy. Techniques like scarcity, reciprocity, and authority from Cialdini's principle, that is in the psychology, drive user engagement and conversion. Because there is a huge study of the psychology in business. So another is the user experience, which is also very important to discuss. User experience design and the human cognition. This is also very important. UX design leverages cognitive load theory, working memory constraints, and perceptual psychology to create intuitive interfaces. Reducing decision fatigue and applying Gestalt principles improve digital interaction. Then the influence of the social proof is also very important to discuss the influence of social proof and herd mentality. I'm trying to use the psychological terms to use in this speech. Social proof, heuristic, where people follow the action of others, becomes amplified. That becomes amplified in the digital realm via the reviews, like and shares, like you do the likes and the shares. The effect can drive viral marketing and rapid consumer adoption. Then, if you talk about the pricing strategy, which is also very important, that's what role the psychology of plays in pricing strategy. Uh, Psychological pricing exploits numerosity illusion, left digit bias, and decoy effects. Consumers perceive $9.99 as significantly less than $10 and are influenced by comparative pricing frames. This is a psychological effect that mostly used in the marketing. Then building consumer trust online is also very important. Trust formation is influenced by credibility, transparency, and perceived integrity. Online environments require compensating for the lack of physical cues through visual consistency, testimonials, and secure transaction design. So then we will move on to the neuropsychology in advertising, which is also used role of neuropsychology in advertising, which is very important to discuss. Neuropsychological insights into reward circuitry, mirror neurons, and emotional processing inform ad creation. Neuromarketing tools such as EEG and fMRI assess consumer responses to optimize content delivery. So, what are the psychological triggers in the e-commerce that we should talk about? It is also very important that the triggers such as urgency, social validation, and gamification engage the brain's dopamine reward pathways, enhancing impulse buying and platform loyalty. And we have to see the motivation theories as well in it, motivation theories and employee productivity, which is also very important to discuss. Motivational frameworks, Maslow's hierarchy, Hasberg's two-factor theory. I'm talking about the psychology, and self-determination theory that help design digital workspaces that foster intrinsic motivation and job satisfaction. And also, it's important to understand the organizational behavior in virtual teams. Virtual teams require application of group dynamics, social identity theory, and transactional leadership models to sustain cohesion, clarity, and performance in dispersed settings. Then, what about conflict resolution using psychological principles? Yes, we have to talk about this as well. For the effective conflict management, employs cognitive reframing, empathy induction, and active listening. Mediation models rooted in social psychology resolve interpersonal tensions in organizational hierarchies. And now the psychology behind innovation and creativity. What is that? What is that? The psychology behind innovation and the creativity. Cognitive flexibility, divergent thinking, and openness to experience are key psychological traits in fostering innovation. Digital firms cultivate creativity through autonomy, psychological safety, and cross disciplinary teams. Then there is a role of stress and burnout in remote work cultures, which is important. We should discuss that as well. The stress and burnout in remote work cultures. Chronic stress, decision fatigue, lack of work life boundaries in remote environments contribute to burnout. Interventions based on Lazarus transactional model. I'm talking about the psychological philosophers or the experts. So interventions based on Lazarus transactional model and mindfulness can elevate strain. So this is very important, like stress and burnout in remote work culture, to understand. Digital addiction is also an important thing to discuss. Digital addiction and work-life balance. Um, Operant conditioning and variable reward schedules underpin digital addiction. Promoting digital hygiene and setting boundaries aids in restoring cognitive health and work life equilibrium. So, what are the ethical implications of psychological targeting? We have to understand that the ethical implications. What are those? Um, Micro targeting and behavioral tracking raise ethical concerns about manipulation, autonomy, and informed consent. Businesses must balance persuasion with respect for consumer agency. So these are some of the topics that I covered. So we have to see the future trends, the artificial intelligence, psychology, and the business strategy, which are also important to conclude this speech. Like for this particular topic, the integration of affective computing, sentiment analysis, and psychographic profiling in artificial intelligence driven strategies marks the future. Businesses must harness these tools ethically to enhance human centered design. So, this is the way I try to explain the importance of psychology in digital business. I hope you would like it, and any comments, you can always comment. Thank you.